First of all, I had a conversation with our head engineer, David, and we're texting back and forth. We're watching the games, and we're talking about who is a bust and who is not a bust, right? Because he's very, and David, if you're listening to this, shout out to you. But we're listening, we're talking about this during the game, and he's like, "Well, Sam Darnold is a bust." And first and foremost, I just want to say, getting to the NFL for anyone that hasn't played football, like I don't even think we should use the word bust. You know what I mean? It's extremely hard to make it to the NFL and then make a 53-man roster, right? So it's extremely hard. So as a person who loves the sport, played the sport, been a part of the sport for pretty much all my life, it's hard for me to use that word, and I feel like most sports don't have that word. I feel like it's overused mostly in football, right? If you're in basketball, they might say like, "Hey, he didn't pan out." You know what I mean? He didn't last in the league.
Very
So
true.
it's a little more forgiving. But in
Very true.
NFL, man, you get a short timeline, and then they are quick to label you a bust. So I decided to make a definition of what a quote-unquote bust is. And I think a
Hmm.
bust is someone who has high expectations, high potential, but then moves on to have a below average career. A below average career. Because if you are an average football player, you're still probably in the 90th percentile of football players. So you know what I mean? If you're an
Yeah,
average
definitely.
NFL player,
Definitely.
you are still one of the greatest football players in the universe. And
Hmm.
just because you had high expectations and high potential, and maybe you didn't meet those like a Sam Darnold did coming out and being one of the top draft picks, but he hasn't had a bad career. He's had an average career, right? So that does not equal to me a quote unquote bust. What is your take on that definition? And just looking at it that way, if we're going to use this word at all.
Yeah, I think that the biggest difference between basketball and football when it comes to evaluating talent, especially young talent, is they give basketball players so much more leeway because there's more games, right? Since the NFL is so minute, it's 16, it's now 17 games. You have to have flash in the pan. You need to develop as soon as possible, right? You can't have a player who's going to sit. He's a developmental guy. He's in his third year. Maybe he pans out now. With Sam Darnold's case, right? It's hey, you came in with high expectations, which, to your point, not really his fault. He can't really control where he gets drafted. He's the player that he is. It's unfortunate that it's kind of like the Heisman race, where it's a lot of right time and right place, right? Is the team structured to take on that kind of weight of like, hey, I'm a quarterback. I think he was drafted as a redshirt sophomore or something. So he's like 20 years old, 21 years old. I'm the face of New York. That's a lot. The teams that pick that high usually aren't very good. The thing that is great about football is it's the ultimate team sport. So there's a lot of things that are going into this kind of recipe that are setting these kids up for failure. So like you touched on, right? Sam in a large scale has had a great career. He's seen this resurgence, kind of you see it with Baker Mayfield as well, right? Where people are so quick to throw in the towel, but sometimes all it takes is just the right situation, the right people believing in you, and surprise, talent around you as well.